Well, joining us now for some legal perspective is criminal defence lawyer and founder of Britton and Time law firm, Paul Britton. Paul, appreciate you waiting to speak to us here on Sky News. Thank you very much for your patience. Now, Thames Valley Police said last week that it was assessing evidence in order to decide whether or not to launch a full investigation into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor for misconduct in public office concerning his time as trade envoy for the country. What will have happened from that point to the arrest that took place this morning?
Well, I mean, that's a really interesting point, isn't it? So they've been investigating this for quite some time now, over a week. And what we would see in criminal defence as solicitors is that our clients would be asked to come in for a voluntary interview with the police if there is an allegation. In this case, Andrew has been arrested this morning at around 10 a.m. And the arrest is quite significant because they've skipped that voluntary process. Now, this only really happens in one scenario where the police, the authorities, feel that they have enough evidence to warrant an arrest. In this case, there could be an alternative motive or an ulterior motive, and that might be because of the public interest in this case. And as many people have been saying, that is he above the law? Is Andrew above the law? And they might want to be sending quite a clear message to the public that no, he's not. And that where there is evidence of a serious offence, that arrest, when it is available as an option, is the route that they are going to go down. The beauty of arrest is that now they know where Andrew is, and they will no doubt have got warrants to search a number of other premises that Andrew is linked to. In those searches, what the police will be looking for, because the police really are evidence gatherers in this process, they're kind of like witnesses. They will be looking at electronic devices, they will be looking for documents, any trace of further misdoing. They would have confiscated his mobile telephone. They will be wanting access to that telephone. Indeed, they will ask Andrew for his PIN to his phone. If he refuses to give them his PIN, then they will simply have other means of accessing the data on that phone, and they will be going down his text messages, his emails that are linked to that phone. They will be viewing meticulously every photo, every image stored on that phone, and any other device that they can get hold of. So once they've gathered all of this information, they will then pass it on to the CPS, and the CPS will decide if they're going to bring about proceedings against Andrew. It's an indictable offence, what he's accused of, which means it will end up in a Crown Court with a jury. In terms of punishment, the punishment for this is quite severe. The sentencing guidelines say up to life imprisonment, likely to get either a discharge, or we've seen cases over the last decade where MPs in particular have been sentenced for up to 10 years. So he could very well, if they proceed with this and he is prosecuted and found guilty, he could very well be serving time in prison.
Yeah, but as you say there, the offence carries a maximum of a life imprisonment, but historically, with this type of offence, misconduct in public office, we've seen a pretty wide range, haven't we, of sentences that go along with that, depending on the perceived and established level of culpability and indeed breach of trust, which I'd imagine is not easy to measure.
Well, no, that's right. I mean, it's ranged from discharges to 10 years is more frequent. And it will depend on the damage that Andrew has done by essentially, I mean, it's sending documents that, while he was UK trade envoy, to third parties that may or not to have had those documents. If they were documents that contain strategy or national secrets or something like that, then that will increase the culpability and no doubt attract a far heftier sentence. In terms of royals that have been on the receiving end of this sort of treatment, I can't think of any in my living memory that have been arrested in this way. I think one royal had a dog offence once. I think Prince Philip previously had a driving incident where he was driving without due care or attention, but he gave up his driving licence. This is an incredibly interesting case and a rarity, I have to say. It's been non-stop today for criminal defence lawyers discussing this.
Yes, and the seriousness of it against a backdrop of a constitutional monarchy where all the organs of justice are all embedded, even in name, in the Crown, aren't they? The prosecutions are brought in the name of the Crown. You have the King's Police, King's Council, King's Courts, and so on.
Yeah, it doesn't get any worse than that. And I think Andrew he has a bit of a reputation for having quite a strong character, very bold. And this must, I mean, look, when someone's arrested, it's not a pleasant experience. This isn't like money can buy you a better scenario, a better situation. Let's say private healthcare. You can go to a private hospital, which might be nicer than a public funded one like the NHS. Andrew doesn't have a choice. He is going to be in a cell at a police station. They're not pleasant places. It's all grey. There's not a toilet seat on the toilets. There'll be the cheapest toilet roll. It's not going to be an attractive situation for him. He would have had his photos taken. He would have had his fingerprints electronically scanned into the system. He would then be taken into an interview room, which, is padded. Everything's recorded, both visual and audio. His solicitor would have been present. He would have had some advice from his solicitor to start with. That advice might have been a no-comment interview. They might give a statement later, a defence statement, if it is a no-comment interview. Or dare I say, if he has got a good account of what the police ask him, he may be well advised to give a full comment interview. I mean, I'm not his solicitor. I don't know what the background is and what Andrew might be saying, but I should imagine that the solicitor, the safest thing probably at this stage, is to advise a no-comment interview.
As you were outlining there with the process, Paul, the next steps will be either charge, bail, or release under investigation. Important to remember, I suppose, that what determines that is not court of public opinion, is it? It'll be a minimum threshold for the level of evidence.
That's absolutely right. And they can hold Andrew for 24 hours. They can extend that up to 4 days, 96 hours, if they feel that there is more to investigate, and releasing him on bail is an option. But I should imagine they probably are going to extend the 24-hour period up to potentially 4 days in incarceration. And there's no other way of saying it. A prison cell is very similar to a police cell. There's not much difference. In fact, I would argue today a police cell is worse. So he could be in there for quite some time while the police gather their evidence, make their inquiries, and then if they charge, well, he'll be helped. And his solicitors may make an application for bail. They may offer some sort of security or surety to say that he won't abscond. He won't leave. Look, he's not the sort of person that's going to be able to leave the country and lie low like some might. I think as a flight risk, he's not really going to be a flight risk. So he probably will get bail.
Paul, let me ask you about the statement that was put out a short while ago from former Prime Minister Gordon Brown, who has confirmed that he has submitted another He's submitted more documents, this time a 5-page memorandum to various police forces around the country, which he says provides new and additional information to that which he already submitted last week, where he expressed his concern that we secure justice for trafficked girls and women. Now, what Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been arrested for is for misconduct in public office. What it appears that Gordon Brown is talking about there is the wider matter of the female victims here. What, if anything, do you make of his statement?
I haven't seen it. I haven't read it. Going on what you're telling, I mean, that sounds that things are going to go from bad to worse. I mean, what I didn't realise there is, so Gordon Brown submitted documents last week and now has all of a sudden found more? Is that what's being said?
Yes, he has submitted a new set of documentation to the Met, Essex and Thames Valley, to the Met, Surrey, Sussex, Thames Valley and other relevant UK police constabularies?
I mean, as a criminal defence lawyer, I would be wondering why this evidence wasn't available last week, and why are we deeming it new? It opens a whole Pandora's box there, really, of questions that I would have before I could any authority comment on what's being said.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yes, can't put you on the spot with
You
something.
have.
All right. Well, listen, I very much appreciate your time talking us through the legal process. Paul Britton, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.